This is a little bit about seeing the future. Do I have a crystal ball? No, I don't. But I do have a little something, and I bet you do too. Haven't we all heard that scenario where we wish at our age we could look back on our young self who was struggling and wondering what life was all about, that we could look back at her and give her some advice? Well, I bet you it works the other way too. Even though some of us are in our 60s, in our 70s, even in our 80s, we're still alive, we're still here, and we can look forward to that old crone that we will be, or older crone that we will be at the end of our life, and imagine her speaking to us about what it's all about. Now, let me preface this by saying that I was watching this interview with Jane Fonda and I think Oprah. So I'm watching this, and Jane Fonda is saying that she wrote a book and she has 3 chapters in her book because she has 3 chapters in her life. And when you get to the last chapter, it's time to do a life review. And I'm watching this and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to do a life review. I can't even imagine anything more tedious than that. So then the pandemic hit, and guess what? I think, COVID. So I'm laying on the couch, very listless, can't do anything, confined to my basement. And I look over, and here's a box of old books, and guess what's in there? All my old journals from when I was in my teens and 20s and 30s. And I thought, well, I'm just laying here on the couch, might as well read them. And going through them, guess what it was? A life review. Just what I really didn't want to do. But after reading those, everything became kind of clear because, past is prologue. Ever hear that? So if that's true, that our past is our prologue of things to come, of who we are, then it only makes sense that visiting our past gives us a glimpse into what is unfolding in our life. Now, after reading those journals, I wanted to, as my 67-year-old self, take the shoulders of that young girl, that 20-year-old who was killing herself, trying to make it as a dancer, and tell her, you know what? It all turns out fine. Everything you work so hard for, it's all going to unfold. It's going to happen. And the things that don't happen, you'll see that they didn't happen for a very good reason. Everything is going to play out. And all those times you thought you weren't strong enough to make it, guess what? You were. And all those times when you thought love was lost and you'd never find it again, you did. And all those times that you thought that you would have to struggle for the rest of your life, you didn't. So doesn't it make sense that if we at this age now would turn and say that to our younger self, that when we turn to the old crone at the end, that she would tell us the same thing? Everything you dreamed of and more came your way. I'm so proud of you. You did it. You hung in there. You stuck to it. You put one foot in front of the other, and you made it all the way. So no, maybe we don't see all those specific occurrences, and maybe we really don't know whether we're going to win the lottery or who's going to marry our children or what they'll be when they grow up, but we do know this about ourselves, that when we do look inwardly and imagine that old crone at the end of your life, I bet you know what she's going to say.